Good morning. Today I'm here with Kevin Boyce, winner of the Gray Market Challenge, to talk about what led him to Luxury Bazaar and ultimately led him to win the challenge. Kevin, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great, man. Happy to be here.
Very happy to have you here. First of all, introduce yourself to the viewers, the listeners. Tell them who you are and what you're about.
Yeah, so as most of you guys know, my name's Kevin Boyce, also known on Instagram, ChronoKev. I'm just that average guy, that middle-class family, grew up, didn't have a lot, didn't have a ton, it was like in the middle. Great parents, great parents, and just, normal. I guess you would say just that typical lifestyle, awesome. Nothing fascinating,
It's typical, for people to come from, or at least to have a story I grew up poor, I was sleeping, on benches out in the street, but there's a lot to be said about coming from a normal upbringing, normal parents, normal life. Doesn't mean that you were born wealthy, you didn't have a silver spoon in your mouth, but you had just what would be considered a regular upbringing. I could relate to that because I'm the same. I didn't have everything I wanted, had everything I needed.
Exactly.
The year 2000, one of the turning points in your life was your father falling off a roof on your birthday. Tell me a little bit about that and how that shaped your life.
So it's crazy. So I woke up, first of all, it's my 8th birthday. I'm waking up and I'm thinking it's just a normal day going to school. My mom actually lied about the situation to protect the fact that it was my birthday. She wanted to keep it as a normal school day routine. So she received a phone call. I'm thinking it was another emergency. She played it off. She obviously was protecting her children. Shout out to mom. We found out probably 4 days later that my dad actually fell off of a roof 40 feet head first, working on a job. He was a union roofer. The sad part of the story was he was grinding his way up to become a union roofer. He was always just doing side hustles, doing whatever to keep food on the table. He was a pure hustler. And he got in with McGinnis Roofing. They were a big time company. And, I think a couple months in, I think he was only 4 or 5 months in.
Wow.
And then a piece of the material had broke. And unfortunately, he fell 40 feet. But
how did it affect you? I know that's a silly question because it's really effective.
No, it's such a good question because I really don't know in what areas it affected me. I feel like a lot of people ask me yo, do you deal with trauma? Are you okay? Are you stressed? Do you have anger? And it's no, I just feel good. I don't want to say everything happens for a reason in this sense, but sometimes typically it does. And it's just one of those things where I don't think I reacted how most people would. Most people would have, turned to a substance or went down a dark path. That was never me.
Well, see, a lot of great leaders and successful individuals are, I don't want to say they're a reflection of their father, but their father has ingrained something in them to help them achieve that. What do you think your father ingrained in you to help you become the man you are today?
I would say just that working hustle, just that no excuses, get it done. I'm going to go out and work. My dad would work in blistering cold weather. They're roofers, so it's seasonal. He would be roofing normally in January, February. If they needed him, he went and did it. There was times I wouldn't see him for a full day. He would do full day work, sleep at a hotel, and go right back to the job. So
I see where you get your work ethic from.
Yeah. So
2011, you graduate high school. What happens?
That's a good one. Yeah, Frankfurt High School, 2011.
Shout out Frankfurt.
Shout out to Frankfurt.
I'm Washington.
One of 4 white kids in the whole school. Didn't matter. They gave me warnings. Watch yourself. Be careful. It was all a hoax, man. At the end of the day, I was just focused on my work and my studies. And I held a job at the age of, I think, 17 in my senior year. I was working at Reebok.
Wow.
Remember Reebok?
Yeah, Reebok was amazing back then.
In the Franklin
Everybody
Mills.
had the whites.
Yeah, now they call it the Philly Mills, but the Franklin Mills, I was working at Reebok. And,
I used to love Franklin Mills.
Me too. I don't know what happened.
What a shame.
What a shame.
Now you go there for a drive-by shooting.
Yeah, you can't even go down there, sit in the food court. Somebody got shot. It's pretty bad, yeah.
What a shame. Any plans to go to college?
I did. I actually did go to college. It wasn't in the order that I wanted to do. I was actually not going to go. Then I just tried it. It was that thing where I felt forced, I had to. Everybody was going. So I went for business, education, the typical, just get in and get something. And
graduating high school, what was your, idea? What did you want to do? What did you want to be? When you grew up, what was the goal?
I always knew that I was going to be in sales. That was just, I've been called Versace from my aunt since I was 6 years old. I was always into like designer, luxury goods. I never knew what I would fully do, but I knew it had to be sales. So like people used to always say, man, you could sell anything, or anything you love, you brag about it, you like sell it for them, you market it, free marketing. I'm like, when I'm passionate about something, I sell it. You
Dude,
know?
with your personality, with your enthusiasm, your energy, sales is the one thing that you could succeed at, more than anything else, I believe, because you have that personality where people just want to be around you. People want to get that vibe off of you. And I remember the first time I ran into you was at the barbershop, and you could hear you over anybody else, and you just, you were really just, you were the energy in that barbershop. And the fact that now you're a part of our team here is just amazing. You get married in 2017. Tell me about your wife. Tell me about getting married. How did that affect your life?
So they always say, like, when you know, right? And I used to get upset when I heard that. I'm like, oh, here we go. If you know, she's the one. And it's really true. I was dating off and on. I was always a relationship guy. Like, I was never being a crazy savage or acting wild in the clubs. I played around in the clubs to feel it out, to live the lifestyle, but it got old really quick. And I was in some crazy relationships. I mean, credit ruined, things stolen, people swinging, it got crazy. I'm just
How did the girls
transparent.
feel about you doing that to them?
No. Listen, it was the other way around. And it was just like, after a while, I met my wife, and it was just all love, compassion, family oriented,
awesome.
Really showing me what matters, growing in business together, being passionate together on the terms of business, and just being, just having a life of order, man, to be honest.
What effect do you think your wife had on you? And again, I ask this because personally, I know how much I've changed, being married.
Yeah.
How has that positively affected your life?
Yeah, I mean, it's changed everything. I mean, the way I think about things, my approach on how I want to do things. I guess we're like opposites too. Oh, yeah. So like opposites attract. It's for sure 100% true. Like if there's somebody else as loud as me in a relationship with me, nobody's going to want to hang with us.
Correct.
She's like my balance. So like she's my like, all right, calm down, or I'm stressed, she can handle the stress.
Dude.
Like she's quiet when there needs to be quiet.
That's awesome. I mean, again, I very much relate to that. Opposites do attract, and not only that, but they balance each other, and it's for the better. Personally, I feel like I've become a better man by being married. I'm assuming you do as well.
100%.
They guide you in the right direction.
I think the deception behind it is, truthfully, like men don't want to be told or like, no girl could like hold me down. Like, it's a lie. You meet the right girl, she's going to uplift you.
Correct.
And you're going to grow together. If you meet some girl that just wants to party, unorganized, she's not responsible, then yes, like it will lead to...
Somebody has to be the responsible person in a relationship. I can tell you I'm not that person. I haven't checked the mail in over 10 years. My wife takes care of that. 2018, big year for you. Mm-hmm. You had your first kid, your son was born. Yeah. I know that's a life-changing event.
Biggest blessing in my life, hands down.
Tell me about him.
Bryson Michael Boyce, 4 years old, kid filled with energy, biggest heart. We have him in private school. He's super, super advanced.
Amazing.
Can read, can talk perfect sentence, probably speak better than me, more proper English than me.
He doesn't have that Philly accent?
Mama's boy. Nah, he says a couple little Philly lines, but just a real big-hearted kid. Like, he'll meet you and want to talk to you, love on you. Just a real energetic kid. Loves Sonic.
So that was mine.
Yeah, Sonic is
we got to do like a Sonic event or some shit.
Yeah, that's like his thing.
I'm actually taking my kid to Monster Jam on Saturday. That might be Saturday.
And that's he was obsessed with Gravedigger. You'll notice these age groups, they go in these tiers. So he's like, he just got out of monster trucks and now he's like pure
What's
Sonic.
next? Oh, it's all Sonic?
Sonic is like, now there's nothing else. I'm like, come on, dude.
I wonder what the next step constantly is, because like it changes weekly, monthly.
Yeah.
I always wonder what's next.
Your son is so awesome, by the way.
Good, thank you. I'm a big fan
cool.
of that guy. He's my best friend. A lot has happened in your life to make you the man that you are. You're balanced, you're stable, you have a goal, which is obviously, supporting your family, making their life easier, which is something that your parents did for you to a certain extent. August 2022, Luxury Bazaar initial contestant interview. I know you submitted your video. I was reviewing every one of those videos and, picking, I guess, filtering from, the hundreds of videos that we got. And I loved your energy in the video. And what I really loved was that I recognized you from the barbershop. I was like, this guy is local. This guy is a hustler. This guy has the energy that we need here. Tell me about that whole process. Like, what were you thinking, shooting that video?
So yet again, it's going to sound cliche, but my wife, I was actually skeptical. I was like, I don't know. I'm comfortable where I'm at. I make decent money. Just being comfortable is actually very scary because I was like making decent money, but it wasn't even a ton of money. It was just like, I'm used to this. It goes with my schedule. And my wife was like, man, what are you passionate about? And I knew that I wanted to be on camera because I originally wanted to be a YouTuber and I knew I wanted to be in sales. So she was like, babe, are you dumb? Like, you need to do this. And I'm like, but I don't know. Like, and then I start going into the normal thing, like, well, my benefits and my money. And I start, the fear kicks in. She was like, shut up. Like, you're going to do this. So I submitted it. You were in charge of these. I submitted it like super duper last minute, which was very unprofessional. But I was just like figuring things out. I was on my bed for like hours thinking about it. And she was like, if you don't do this, like, I'm not talking to you. Like, you need to do this for us. And I was like, you know what? Let me submit this.
It's funny because I was getting a haircut and our barber, Dan, was like, hey, did you watch Kevin's, submission yet? I was like, no, I haven't seen it yet. And he's like, oh, you got to check to see, make sure that you get it. And I went back in and I looked at it and it just came in like, right before. And I was like, oh, got to watch this. I know it takes a lot of balls to, first of all, to put yourself on camera like that, to do that, and then to risk getting the job. Getting the job, sure, it's great, but you are risking the benefits, the comfort, the safety net that you've had with your existing, job and position and role that you've built up over years. It takes a lot of balls, and first of all, I got to commend you on being able to do that.
Appreciate it.
Then comes October. It's your actual start date. You started a little bit late, and that's because we made a mistake. We made a mistake. I limited it originally to 3 people. I said, we got to have top 3. You always have 3. It's not, it's not 4. It's 3. And then we said, you know what? No, it's got to be 4. Like, there's no way that we could skip out on you. And we brought you in. And tell me, how was it when they came to announce the news to you? And
it was crazy, man. I'm just like thinking back, even with the risk in general. Like, they pulled up to my job. For anybody watching, they literally showed up to my job. It wasn't staged. I had no idea. They were respectful enough to say, "Hey, you have some time. Like, think it through. We know you have a family. You guys have always been super considerate of my life, my wife, my son." And I still had fear in that time. And at the same time, I'm very professional. I was with T-Mobile for 10 years. So I didn't want to just backdoor them.
Of course.
And act like I didn't care. They've been good. They were understanding same way. So I wanted to give the 2 weeks on a professional notice, and then my mom was moving out to Florida. So we were relocating my mom, and she don't have anybody. So I drove to Florida 18 hours. So long story short, fast track, we're here, and you guys calling me back was an absolute blessing because I was super discouraged when I got sent home, only because I was the last one eliminated. It wasn't like I got sent home like 10-9.
You were the last one because it was the hardest decision.
Yeah, that was tough. I was like, wow, like, because I at that moment when I got down, like, all right, our last one, I was like, I'm good. Like, I actually thought I was safe. And then when they said the local guy going home, I'm like, no way.
It was a fuck up. It really was. It was us making a mistake, and we shouldn't have, that shouldn't have happened. We should have picked you from the get-go, because not only do we know now, I mean, hindsight is always 20/20, but you deserve to be here, and you've shown everybody that.
I appreciate it.
Obviously, in January of 2023, you won the challenge.
Yeah.
Tell me about, what you did to win it.
Well, sleepless nights, communicating with people from different countries, constant messages, phone calls, the typical thing. But I think with me, what it was I wasn't just trying to get a one-time sale. It wasn't just like, okay, good, $100,000 sale. No, it was like constant follow-up. I'm in your face. Here's our new product. I just didn't rest. And I knew that it would all pay off. Like, I knew, okay, this is a contest time frame, but this is going to be my lifestyle.
Yep.
So why not get that practice in, that habit? I don't know how long they say to make something a habit. It takes a certain amount of time.
Hours.
Yeah, it was like perfect, because I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to work into this, and now I'll be adjusted. So it was just grind, man. It was bad. I mean, my wife would wake up and I'm up at 3 a.m, and she's probably like, what is he doing? But I'm talking to somebody from Vietnam, you know what I mean? So it's like,
the way that you started off is the way that, we would love to have people be, years into this. Like, you almost reached what I would have considered, expert level in presenting yourself and communicating with customers. The follow-up is probably the most important thing in this business, and having the systems and the support to be able to do that, obviously by the systems that we provide, the support that you have from our team and from your family, it's very important to have all that to be able to make that to happen. I want to know about the transition from selling phones to selling watches. How did that work for you? What's different? What have you learned?
Well, for everybody watching this too, that's going to watch this, tune in, it's actually very similar. I had a lot of comments of people saying, oh, phones and watches are completely different. Yes, product-wise, absolutely different prices, different clientele, but at the end of the day, the practices are all the same. The follow-up, the reaching out, the marketing it, the speaking on it, it's the just the sales 101, it's absolutely the same.
Yeah, I mean, building a relationship and putting yourself out there, it doesn't matter what you're selling, you're still selling. So I'm a big fan of your social media strategy. I've told you that before. I love your morning lives, your evening lives, the fact that you're taking the time to do this. And again, being a father, it becomes very difficult. You want to allocate some time to spend with your family. You're limited in how much free time you have to be able to respond to customers and to do this. The fact that you've been able to achieve that is, it's a big deal. Tell me what guided you in your social media strategy. Like, where did it come from? How did it come about?
It's a really good question. I think it was just, I wanted to build a community of people that wanted to know what's next. Like, I didn't want to just dump, I guess, stories and different types of things just to dump it. I wanted to be quality sharing. So the lives was just to connect with these people and update them on my strategy. I was like, you know what? How cool would it be? Because Roman actually gave me this idea. Roman was like, turn on your camera and document your journey.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, it's something so simple that makes so much sense. Let them know where I'm at. So then people would ask me, hey, any sales today? And they would dive into the topics, actually care about the journey. Oh, what are you eating today? Or, oh, what kind of car do you have, by the way? People were interested in me. And when they're interested in me, you're going to be interested in the product I sell. So it's me selling myself, letting you know this is who I am.
I mean, again, that's a really good way to look at it, and I really think you should double down on that. I think you should just, continue documenting your journey every single day. Show people that the transparency that they see online, that's the truth. That's who you are. That's what you do. The one thing that we've had to overcome, and people have had to overcome this always in this industry, is the risk of dealing with somebody shady or somebody. So our strategy of transparency has paid off, and it looks like it paid off really well for you as well.
Big time, yeah, because at the end of the day, they're seeing you every day, so it's kind of you ever feel like you know somebody because you watch their content? Of
course.
You could relate, and that's what it is with me. And another big thing that I never really mentioned is I rarely ever respond after 5 minutes. I give myself okay, people are going to be oh, he's capping or he's just saying that. But I'm really if I'm aware and I'm working, I try to respond within 5 minutes.
That is the number one thing, because we constantly this lead has been sitting there for 20 hours. Why has nobody responded to it? So, everybody wants instant gratification these days. And if you can't provide it, they're going to go to somebody that
They'll
will.
just move on.
Yep.
I've seen it happen. It's happened. I got back to somebody, I think maybe 20 minutes later, and they were already speaking to someone else.
That's what happens in this industry, because everybody's fighting for the same customer. It's funny because a lot of the interviews I've done here and people I talk to, the one theme that we have going through is, instead of fighting for the same customer and competing with our fellow dealers, our goal is to find new customers, to bring in new people into the industry, new watch lovers, new enthusiasts, new collectors, people that might have never been into watches. We want to introduce this whole industry to them and have them become customers, so that we're not fighting over the same wrists.
Right.
Tell me where you are 5 years from now.
Ooh, that's always a good one, because I feel like it changes frequently. I just want to be in a position where I'm financially free, where my son could pretty much have a much more stable upbringing. My parents didn't leave me anything. I'm not mad at that. I'm not upset with that. It actually pushed me to be who I am. It started up that grinder mentality. But I think everybody's kid, and I'm sure you could agree, should have just an easier start off.
Yep.
Where maybe I leave them. My son will have a duplex, thank God. I bought a duplex at a young age. My son will have that, but just some investments, some cash, some savings, not too much. They have to understand that they have to work, but a startup plan. I had to literally start from the ground.
How do you think? So I've been thinking about this lately. You know, I have 3 kids, and I've been thinking about. I listen to a lot of podcasts and a lot of interviews, and you know, one of the conversations that I'm constantly listening to is how do you raise kids with the same values that you have? You know, so you know, again, I had what I needed, not what I wanted. You know, I had a stable household, and I did anything to earn money. Some things, you know, illegal. Some things legal.
I know.
You know, it was so important in my life, but I'm not really sure. Well, actually, I guess I am sure. Like, so that mentality, the hustler mentality, came from my parents. Always, you know, hustling, always working. You know, they had businesses, they had jobs. You know, same thing goes for you. How do we instill that in our children?
It's so tough because you know what it is? It's like what we went through and what we dealt with helped us.
Doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't. First of all, the morals are completely different.
Yes.
People feel like they're owed something.
Correct.
And nobody wants to work no more.
Correct.
You can't find good workers. We grew up in a sense where it's like, if we work, we can get these things, or if we don't work, we just won't eat, or we won't look good in school, and we cared about our sneakers, our outfits, the girl that might like us down the block. So it's just different now because now these kids feel like they're privileged, like they're walking around like, he better leave me money. Like, no, I wasn't left a penny. People were under the impression after my father fell, they started thinking like, oh, he got a property. No, I bought my property when I was 20 years old. I was working since I was 17. So there was no handouts. And I think with our children, we should probably give them a little bit more, but also remember at the end of the day, like, you got to work too.
It's funny. So I listened to this podcast about real estate and investing and all that stuff. And one of the topics in there is like, sell, you know, don't leave real estate to your children because the first thing they're going to do is sell it. You're leaving them a headache, you know? So I'm like, you know, I'm buying all this real estate. Why wouldn't I just sell it when it goes up and, you know, leave them money instead of real estate? You know, so it's always a conflict.
It's the fear of not knowing, to be honest, because he might do something crazy with the money or he might rent out the properties. It's scary. It's a decision I don't even know what I'm going to do.
Now, do you think that you're, you know, going to be building, I guess, a legacy of sorts, you know, becoming very known, very established in the watch game? This is not something that you can hand down to your kid, but would you ever consider bringing him in and having kind of work with you and going into this industry?
Yeah, that's awesome. Roman actually already instilled that in him because he showed up and he like gave him his first watch, and it was a blue Swatch watch. So now he's calling it his Sonic watch, and he's running around. So it's like he knows. It's actually funny because he watches these podcasts and he goes, "That's Daddy's show." So it's just so crazy how your children watch and they know, and he knows that I work at Luxury Bazaar, and he says, yeah, Daddy lives at Luxury Bazaar. I guess the hours are too long. I'm like, I don't live there, Bryson. So the kids watch everything and they turn into little versions of us. So I just try to make sure I'm on my P's and Q's every day, and I'm setting an example.
I hope you're right. I mean, I love that. Kevin, thank you so much for joining me. I just wanted to get to your history and show to people who you are and what it takes to become, you know, a #1 salesperson at Luxury Bazaar. You won for a reason, and I wish you much luck and success in becoming, you know, the top salesperson going forward.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to be here.
And it was an honor having you. Guys, if you're watching this or listening to this, make sure to show us some love. Comment, like, subscribe, write a review. Let us know to continue doing this. We're going to keep doing this every single day as long as we possibly can. Thank you. Have a great day.